But right now, the AF Mosaic Center on Multiculturalism is the only national ad industry resource of its kind. It promotes diversity while advancing the common interest of all the industry. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Mosaic keynote panel. This year's panel features players in the development of the Pepsi and Empire campaign, the winner of the 2016 Mosaic Game Changer Award. Please welcome our moderator from Castor & Partners, Brandon Roshan.
Thank you. It is amazing. What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? Come on now, a little more energy. You know, y'all just won, got some prizes and stuff. Y'all showed that y'all the best in it, coming in the industry. It is absolutely my pleasure today to introduce you to this phenomenal panel, and especially one with an award that the AAF decided was much needed and introduced the first time this year. And with where we look at where the industry is now, where the industry is going, I think the conversation that we're about to have today is a great place to start here with you guys, because you are the future and you are the hope of what we are trying to become in this great industry. So as I introduce to you true people who have pushed not only the industry forward, but have also changed the game, it is my honor to introduce to you Adam Harder, Vice President, Marketing of PepsiCo, Claudia Cahill, President, Chief Content Officer, Content Collective, OMG, and David Madden, President of Entertainment at Fox. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, we can slide down.
We'll slide down. All right, sorry, you know, we can go anywhere, we can sit.
We're already
How you guys doing? How you guys doing?
Good.
No, it's chill. It's gonna hang out. We're gonna talk. We're gonna get inspired, you know, because I love what you guys did, right? And I think it is only fitting that the award is called the Game Changer, because I believe what you did was change the game. And it happens very rarely in this industry. There's a lot of great work that comes out of our colleagues, but every once in a while there becomes a moment in history when you see something and us in the industry look at it and say, wow, this not only changes the game, but it absolutely takes us to a whole new level. And I think you guys did it with the branded integration production with Empire and Fox.
Thank you.
And all that. Why don't you, Adam, tell us a little bit about how this whole thing started?
Sure. Well, I wish I could tell you. Said they come around once in a while and we see something. I did not see this coming at all. So there was no vision. There was no moment where, you know, it struck me and I saw this greatness. I actually was moving down a completely different path, and I think it's a good example of how you have to keep your eyes open for lightning to strike at any time and for great ideas to come from anywhere. I was actually kind of frustrated that we weren't making great progress in the area of film.
Okay.
I felt really good about the work we were doing in sports, really good the work we were doing in music. We had found a place for our brand to play as that ecosystem had changed, and artists and labels were embracing us, but we were missing that in film.
Yeah.
And so we went and we did a West Coast sweep, and we'd asked to sit down with some of the thought leaders in the space to help us think through it and think, how could we change the game and do things, you know, a bit differently? But I was very focused on film. And we sat down with Brian Grazer, and obviously an incredibly accomplished producer and director, and just a magnificently creative person. We had a great conversation with him, and I was very focused on one particular project that I thought we might have some potential with him in the area of sports. And he kept saying, have you seen this new show that we've just launched, I'm a producer on, called Empire? And I had heard about it. I didn't know that much about it, but I said, yeah, but let's get back to talking about this movie. You know? And finally, as he started to explain it, and I had caught part of one episode, I said, okay, I see where you're coming from. And he said, you should really talk to Fox. And of course, as we were trying to explore great thought partners and leaders in the space, we had an afternoon meeting with Fox and sat down with a very small group and realized that the writers of the show were already thinking of Pepsi. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that it came from the creatives, where they saw an authentic connection to our brand.
That's great. Do we have a chance? Can we show the case study? Because I think it is absolutely phenomenal and amazing for you guys to see. Like, this is, I know it seems like a no-brainer when you see it now, but the feat that it took to get this underway and to get this done, to pull this off, is anything less than amazing. And I really want you guys to see it if we can get a chance to play it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, as to the motion to remove Lucious Lyon, how say you?
Lucious Lyon?
Nay.
Andre Lyon?
Nay.
Jamal
Nay.
Lyon? Hakeem Lyon?
This is where you cut to commercial, but not if you want to take brand integration to the next level. Empire, TV's biggest show with a diverse viewing audience, featuring a character on the verge of music stardom. Pepsi, a brand known for working with the biggest music icons in the world. And Pepsi's partner agencies all came together to create the most authentic integration ever. How did it work? First came the 3-episode plot. Episode 1.
Jamal has a real shot at becoming the new face of Pepsi.
The catch? A song that Jamal has to write and perform for Pepsi.
Song for Pepsi? Yes, the Pepsi song.
Get up with my mind, stay on the ride.
Spoiler alert.
Jamal,
Seriously?
seriously.
He gets the gig. Episode 2, Jamal films his ad with a rare cameo from Lee Daniels, Empire co-creator, playing himself, directing the fictional ad. Episode 3.
I am sharing the premiere of my Pepsi commercial.
But it's not the fictional commercial from the show that the audience sees.
Jed, pull over here.
It's a Pepsi ad, played during the commercial break. Directed by Lee Daniels.
You will experience Pepsi in a way that we haven't experienced it before.
Put your hands up and just turn up the bass.
Featuring a song written by Empire's music producer, Swizz Beatz.
I wanted it to be something that can be accepted on a global level.
And a story that showed how the joy of music could break down any barrier, bringing together people of all ethnicities, classes, and sexual orientations, turning a subway ride from isolation into celebration. It was a one-of-a-kind commercial break that blurred the lines between show and ad.
The commercial's fantastic, Lucious.
The result?
Last song you will ever see.
Pepsi, we think we did this in a way that our viewers are really going to like. We made it part of the storyline.
In the end, brand, network, and partner agencies all came together to take brand integration to a new level.
I mean, that's dope. Go ahead, give a clap, give it a round of applause. Come on now. That was amazing, absolutely amazing. And what I love about it now, I wanted to ask you guys up here, a partnership like that had to be one of the most daunting things ever. And I have to congratulate and applaud you for doing it, because it truly comes from the top down, to have that kind of thinking and that kind of vision, and then to bring in the right partners. Tell me a little bit how this partnership formed. Tell me how we started, how the conversations, because I know I've been in those conversations and they get crazy. So how did, we got Fox up in here, we got OMG, we got how did y'all say, hey y'all, let me tell you what I want to do? Y'all down? How did it start?
Well, I'll start it, but I'd love to turn over to Claudia and David. So you hit the nail on the head. This really starts with partnership, and it would not have happened if you don't have the right partners. I think if there was, there's 3 things you have to have for something like this to happen. It's you have to have an authentic idea that's really true to core. You have to have great partnerships, and then you have to have a dynamite team that is willing to just do anything to make it a reality. And we saw very early on with Fox that we just had an exceptional partner that was willing to bring us into the writing room, and had a deep respect for our brand, and it kind of disarmed us. And instead of being a scenario where we're always used to fighting for our brand and do more, we realized, no, we need to take a step back. We need to respect what Fox and Empire has created and try to deliver something that the fans will appreciate is a seamless integration in the show. And so after that initial session, I immediately turned to my partner in crime, which is Claudia Cahill, and the work that she does with Omnicom and Content Collective, because you just need expertise to help turn this into a reality. So
you are an expert. Cahill, come on.
Absolutely.
Drop some knowledge.
Well, I think Adam said it. It took a top-down partnership, which we already have an amazing relationship with Fox, but the idea started with one of their head writers, and the fact that they wanted to give Jamal a storyline that allowed him to have his first commercial deal was pretty amazing. We didn't have to force anything. And then from there, the briefings and the conversations that happened to have them truly understand the brand and what it stood for, you know, and they absorbed all of that, and all of that came out in, you know, what you just saw in the finished product. So, you know, we're incredibly proud of this, and we're trying to use this model. Granted, it doesn't work in every instance, but as a template for us moving forward in how, you know, we work with partners and have the right thinking from the top down. So that's the thing that's pretty game changing. I think now, and Treva knows, we're up to 12 awards with this project, and you couldn't be more proud, but you know, Pepsi is probably one of the best partners in the world to do this kind of work. So authenticity, like Adam said, is a huge part of it.
That's great. David, what about you?
Well, as Adam said, this was really a case of everybody kind of moving to the same destination from totally different starting points. So Empire is our most important show right now. It's our most watched show. It's the most watched show in broadcast television. Season 1, we were coming off an incredible run, incredible high. We were looking in season 2 for what do we do next. And we were doing a serialized drama like Empire. Each time you approach a season, you approach each character one at a time, and you talk about what do you want to do next for that character. In Empire, it's really those 5 family members. So for Jamal in season 1, it was all about having people, and especially his father, come to terms with his orientation.
Yep.
We kind of played through most of that story in season 1, and season 2 was going to be, now he wanted to try to take the next step in his career, in his success. He was, quote, ready to go. That was the name of the song, in terms of launching that part of his musical career. And the point was that it was going to incite a lot of jealousy from his dad, from Lucious. So in terms of building that career, Eileen Shaken, who runs the show, who's the showrunner, talking to Brian, talking to us, talking to various other people, was saying, okay, what's that big next step? Well, it would be a big endorsement. And Pepsi was really the logical place, given how enmeshed Pepsi has been in the music culture. So that was really in Eileen's head as she first started conceiving of this direction for the show. She wanted to be a multiple character thing. And as Eileen and we were starting to talk about it, we then started to hear from Adam and Claudia that there was some interest from their end. So it was just fortuitous.
That was great.
And you know, the thing that makes it so, and just for the folks in the audience, the younger folks, my role, our role in this process, I work for Pepsi's media agency. So we have a division within the agency that runs all the entertainment programs and content development. So we work with partners like Dave, because think about it, we spend a considerable amount of money with all of these partners, and we use our partnership to develop these kinds of custom programs. But when you get handed assets, like we got handed with Empire, and it's not just what happened, you know, in the broadcast, it's what we did with it in social media, and Adam can rattle off some of the statistics. It was pretty amazing. So we had a song, and we had, you know, custom content that we shot behind the scenes, and there were sound bites from the talent, and we were handed a tremendous toolkit of assets that we used across, you know, several months' time.
Yeah, that was, you know, when we went into this, we were thinking about metrics, we were thinking about how we're going to gauge success. And honestly, for us, we looked at this very much as an equity play. This is about reinforcing Pepsi's position at the forefront of pop culture. We have internally, we talk about this challenge and say, as a brand, we want to reclaim the throne at the head of pop culture. And what better place to do that than in an Empire? Right. So we just love that. And I would have been very happy with just reinforcing those brand equity measures and having some good social media conversation, winning the war of conversation versus, you know, I think Blaze said it really well when he said, you know, there's this, you know, there's this outshouting that goes on, and that's not the game anymore. It's about winning that, you know, that war of conversation. And when we take a look at the social media metrics, we actually saw a 3,000% increase in our social media mentions as part of this conversation. Our brand likability went up over 245%. Our brand memorability went up 200%. We increased our ROI, and this was the thing that just took me by complete surprise. A program like this, you would never expect to actually drive immediate volume. We saw almost a 5% lift in volume with Empire viewers. And in a show that can have 10, 15, 20 plus million viewers, that's a lot of Pepsi viewers. So, great results overall.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, like, I like to keep it real. So it sounds great and it's awesome, but there had to be some challenges because y'all were doing something that ain't been done before, and y'all got a lot of players in the room that weren't used to playing in this kind of sandbox. Tell me some of those challenges and how you guys overcame them.
Let me sidebar with him for a minute. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I don't, Treva can tell you too, in the audience here who worked on this thing day to day. Honestly, I'm not kidding you, and there always are problems and issues. This one felt like, for the most part, it was drama-free, right?
I was telling Dave this just before we started. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop throughout the entire process. This is too good to be true. Something is going to explode at some point in time, and it never came.
Honestly, Brandon, we were scared. I mean, we were excited, but we were scared because we had very ambitious plans for how we wanted to use Pepsi on screen. Like in the 3 episodes that were dealing with the storyline, there were 10 songs that were competing to get that prize of being the Pepsi song. And so Jamal had to compete. And parents being parents, Dad said, do this song that I wrote. And Mom said, well, do this song that I produced. And Jamal was stuck between the two, and then he had to fuse them together. And Pepsi was really judging that, and the Pepsi executives were on screen as characters, sort of making that assessment of what was the best song and supporting that. And you guys were fantastic about allowing that to be characterized on screen in the process.
That was the only drama. Adam was mad that we didn't cast him in the show.
Actually, this is one part that wasn't authentic. They did ask me to be in it, and I said, okay, I'm going to have to steer away from being inauthentic, and you need to put someone that looks way cooler than me as a representative of Pepsi. We're not going there. But one of the, when you talked about the song itself, there's one area that there was a little bit of drama over the song. And what happened was we had, and Swizz, having Swizz Beatz in the middle of this was just fantastic. He's amazing. And he was so vested in the brand and the property. And we're doing more work with him now on a variety of different projects because he was just such a great partner. But when it came to the song, there were actually 2 different songs. And we were struggling with which one to use. And it actually, at one point, we were on one side, and we had other people on the other side. I think Lee, he personally liked the same song we did.
That's awesome.
But he called one day and he said, look, I'm having a dilemma because I rely on a variety of people, the people in my life that guided me to make the decision to do Monsters Ball and Precious and The Butler and actually even Empire. And when I'm out of my depth, I rely on these people. In the world of music, I've got these folks that I rely on, and they're telling me that this other song is actually the better hit. And so we were at the premiere, and we had this conversation, season 2 premiere, and we grabbed, and I was like, man, this could be, I mean, if Lee doesn't want to do it, we want to do, we feel really passionate about the other song. And he said, when it comes to music, I've got this core group of people that persuade me, and it's people like Kanye and people like Mariah, and suddenly this woman pops out from behind his shoulder, and it's Mariah Carey. And he proceeded to say how the song that they were pushing for is one they just felt was so unique, it was going to fit much better, and you just don't rely. You can't deny Mariah Carey.
Come on, she showed up.
So yeah, I would say that was about the biggest piece of drama I think we ever had.
Adam, you now have experienced a little bit of my daily life with Lee Daniels.
Ah, damn, not Mariah again. That is absolutely awesome. So now, how would you, because like I said, I really believe this is the future of advertising. How do we as an industry, how do we start doing more things like this? What kind of collaborations do we have? How open do we need to be? What kind of conversations do we need to start having as an industry to be able to be authentic as you guys were and to truly have a conversation that connects with not only the fans of the show, but the consumers that our brands and our clients are trying to reach?
Look, we're doing it. I mean, let's be honest, I wouldn't have a job if we weren't.
True, y'all doing it.
Every day. So it's really about bridging 2 very different worlds. I mean, let's be honest. We live in the advertising world where formats are very different from the world that Dave lives in. So it's merging these 2 formats in a way that makes sense. And then, we're exploring models that are so different and developing, co-developing IP with partners. We have 3 or 4 shows on the air right now for different clients. Pepsi is thinking about the business now from a publisher's perspective, like how do we create programming that people want to watch, and then our group works with them to develop that and distribute it across all of our media. It's the future, and it's now. So you know, the content has become the new bright, shiny object du jour. Is it going to level off in the next couple of years? Probably. But right now, every client that we work with wants to do this.
Which is great. So, Dave, let me ask you, how do you feel about it? Like, what do you think, coming from that other side of the world?
I mean, listening to Adam and Claudia talk, I mean, I think it is, in a large measure, the future, and I think the key to it is approaching it in the way that they did on this project. For example, Lee Daniels, who is an absolutely brilliant guy, he's an artist. He is absolutely honest. One of the main reasons that the Empire is a success is because Lee finds the truth as he perceives it very important to him, and he infuses that attitude throughout all of his collaborators on the show. So if this project had been brought to him purely as a piece of commerce foisted upon him and shoved down his throat, A, he wouldn't have done it, and if somehow it had he had been made to do it, it would have been shit. It wouldn't have worked. But because of the way that it was approached, where he could actually treat it as part of the art, and he understands that television has to make money, and he understands it's a business, not just an art. But as long as the artistic side of it is respected, and you guys did that spectacularly all the way through, there's all sorts of opportunities. And look, we talk to Claudia all the time, and we do a lot of shows. You know, they all present their challenges. Empire has its challenges, but every show has its challenges. And we also are always looking for opportunities to promote our shows and give people more exposure to our shows. So we'll be wide open.
Yeah, I think respect is like such an important part of it, because Adam was so good about respecting the art and respecting the fact that you're not going to get into an argument with Lee Daniels. You know, and I mean, right? He has a vision and a truth in that show that is so explicit. So, you know, it takes the right kind of a client mentality to understand that you have to lean back.
And let's talk about Adam, let's talk, because we had a long conversation a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the bravery that it took to do this. You know, and I said how I was just so in awe of you taking that leap of faith and doing something that is unheard of. And so tell me a little bit about that process. I know, you know, we always say it starts from the top down, but really it starts with a client like you who really sees it and believes it in their heart, because you truly believed it.
Truly believed it, but I don't know how brave I was. I was terrified throughout the whole experience, because Lee is creative, but you just kind of, you don't know. Like he is a free spirit, and you know, he said this in a conversation. We were talking about the song, we were talking about a couple other things, and he said, look, you hired me because you wanted Lee Daniels. And he said, this is what Lee Daniels is. This is who I am. And when I don't feel something in my gut, I need to be honest about it. And we rolled with it. And we had several conversations where we said, okay, if we do it this way, you know, in a couple different areas in the creative, we said, if we go this way, wow, it could be risky, and there might be repercussions. And we decided to roll the dice and go with it. And you know, that respect, I think, is a big piece of it, because we found ourselves getting very protective of the Empire IP and the story. And for the very first time, I remember they were so open in sharing scripts with us and saying, here's what the script of the next episode is going to be. And I remember going through it and actually crossing out Pepsi mentions and Pepsi placement and said, it's too much. I think we're crossing the line. We need to pull back on the branding. And that's a first for Pepsi. That's probably a first that we've ever done that.
No, that's great.
We really appreciated it.
That's hilarious. So now, with you guys changing the game, what's next? What do you think the future of this is?
Look, I can speak from our side. It's, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, the gentleman from Simmons that spoke, it's about data. So for us as a media company, you know, media has become extremely commoditized, and where we're going is it's all about data and content. And I'm sure, you know, the young students in the room know what programmatic is and how much of a big impact that's going to have on our business in communicating directly to consumers. So if you think our business is complicated now, when we go from mass reach to one-on-one communication, it's going to be even more complicated.
That's great.
I'll balance that comment on the science piece of it with the art side of it, which is we can't lose sight of the idea. At the end of the day, we talked about this a little bit earlier, that it's about the people, it's about the consumer, and whether you call it a commercial or you call it content or you call it a 60-minute show called Empire, it's about entertainment and connecting with people. And I think this worked because we found that sweet spot between, that just blurred the lines between fiction and reality and marketing and advertising and entertainment. And if we can stay true to finding the idea that really connects with people, I think that's where we'll be successful moving forward, because things are changing so fast. You have to have something that anchors you moving forward. And I'd say on the creative side, if we can anchor this in that authentic idea and follow it up with the data and science behind it, I think you'll have a winning combination.
That's amazing.
And I think Dave will contest that with the right partner like Pepsi, Pepsi can bring their marketing muscle to the table too. So they own, think about it, millions and millions of packages. They have their own massive social footprint. So in driving tune into the show, if it's done properly, Pepsi has the ability to do that as well, and so do a lot of our other clients. So, you know, working, not that Empire needs it, let's be real, but you know, some new shows might need that additional effort.
We are open to Stewie or Bart Simpson getting their own musical endorsement. We can have that conversation anytime.
That is awesome. So, in closing, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being brave and doing it. And thank you so much to show, I always talk about how this industry, we need to collaborate more. You know, and you guys are truth proof positive to when great minds get in the room and egos put aside and all wanting to go for a single vision. And we bring that vision together, absolutely, it can change the game. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.